As-salamu Aleikum. Hope you're all doing well, inshallah. Ramadan is quickly approaching, and today it's time to get organized, inshallah. Setting intentions, planning out meals, creating a schedule, inshallah. You can find all of these pages available on the website. I'm linking it down below. I changed up the website so that now it's not in, these files are not in the shop page, but it's in a new page called Ramadan, and you don't have to check out or do any of the other things like other times. So you can just click a button and download the file, and that's it. You do need to be, I think, on a computer since it's a PDF. I don't think it will download to your phone, but that's the only thing. And that's it. So hopefully that makes things so much easier, inshallah. So I'll walk you through what's included, and I'm going to work on some of it myself so that you can kind of see how it works, inshallah, and hopefully also get some ideas and tips throughout the process, inshallah. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is a page for intentions. So what are your intentions that you want to set for Quran, for certain habits, for worship activities, and on the side you will see some examples for you. I realized that I wrote I want to get up for Fajr twice on this. That was an error. I think something was meant to be Tahajjud prayer or some other prayer. But anyways, those are just examples, and these are for you to fill out. Of course, you don't have to fill out each one. Even if you just fill out one thing on this page, like one line, and that's your only intention for Ramadan, that's totally fine. So I don't want you to feel like you have to fill out every single line and overwhelm yourself with intentions, because the best of deeds are those that are consistent. So let's keep it simple and something that we can keep up with and be consistent about, inshallah. Okay, the next one is a Ramadan calendar, and I left it blank so that you could put in anything you want on your calendar, anything that you want to keep track of during Ramadan. You can use this page to keep track of. And then there's also this 30-day challenge included. And there's 32 different tasks to choose from. So you can pick a task a day and challenge yourself to do that task on each day in Ramadan. And these boxes, I made them the same size or a little bit smaller than these boxes in the calendar. So if you wanted to get creative and artsy, you could always cut these out, and as you do them, stick them here. You could even have some fun and do them randomly, cut them out and stick them in a little, I don't know, hat or container or something, and pull them out randomly, and that will be your task to do on that day, inshallah. And as you do them, you can write them into your calendar as done, or even stick them onto your calendar so you can keep track of the tasks that you have completed, or you can just use this calendar as a separate thing. So it's totally up to you, totally flexible. Okay, next there is this Ramadan tracker, and this is just for you to keep track of Ramadan days if you want to be scratching off or coloring in the days that you have fasted, and then you can also keep track of the days that you missed, especially sisters, if you want to keep track of your days, to know how many days you need to fast later, inshallah. This is just a fun way to keep track, inshallah. So just a very simple Ramadan tracker, fasting tracker. Or you can use it to track anything else if you want to. I mean, it's blank. You can always fill in something that you want to keep track of. Okay. Then we have a weekly schedule. So this is just for 1 week. So if you want to do each week in Ramadan, you can do 4 different weeks. I thought it would be better to have a weekly schedule than a monthly schedule, because then each week you can kind of assess your progress and how your week went and your schedule, and then you can adjust the following week if you want to make some changes and you feel like, oh, maybe something is not working as well, and maybe you want to move some things around. So then you can print a second one for the second week and change it up, inshallah. And then this is Ramadan meal plan. This is just a monthly meal plan that you can fill in if you want to plan ahead your meals. And the idea is planning ahead your meals for Ramadan and keeping it simple so that you don't have to be thinking during the days of Ramadan about what you're going to cook and spend time looking at recipes and trying to figure out things. You've already done the work before Ramadan starts so that you can actually focus more on worship and other activities during Ramadan. And yeah, that's about it. And this is just morning and evening dhikr at the end. And that's everything. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Hope it was clear. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below and I'll try to answer, inshallah. And then hopefully if there's similar questions, you can all see the answers, inshallah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my weekly schedule and the meal planning schedule. And I'm just going to do the first week of Ramadan. Again, it's the first week just so that when I finish the first week, I can kind of assess and look at how the first week went and be like, okay, this doesn't work at this time, so I'm going to change things around for the second week and so on. So you can keep making adjustments week by week, inshallah. And then I'll be also doing the meal plan. And yeah, so let's get started, inshallah. And if you want to sit down at the same time and be doing it alongside with me, creating your own schedule and intentions, inshallah. I'm actually, I'll skip the intentions one because I want to keep this mainly private, just so that, you know, those are my intentions between me and Allah. The only ones that I'll share is in terms of Quran is, since you're going to see it in the weekly schedule, is that I want to read a juz a day personally, inshallah, and then I want to also be reading a juz a day with the sisterhood. So we're doing a daily Ramadan recitation, inshallah. It'll be on the same link as this thing is, so you can check it out there, the timings and so on. Hopefully it works for you sisters, it's only sisters, so hopefully you can join us, inshallah. That'll be every day in Ramadan so that we can complete the Quran together. So I'm just talking about those two intentions because those will be obvious, but everything else I just want to keep private, inshallah. So I'm going to start off with the weekly schedule because I want to see what my weekly schedule looks like and then plan the meals because the meals will slightly depend on my weekly schedule. Like if there is a day that looks impossible to be cooking on that day, I want to make sure that's a leftover day in my meal plan schedule, if that makes sense. It'll make sense as I go through it, inshallah. So let's start off with the weekly schedule. I'm just going to do the first week of Ramadan, inshallah. So I cannot find a ruler, so I just grabbed this piece of cardboard, so hopefully that will function as my ruler. Okay, so this will be the week of April 3rd to 9th. And I'm just going to write the times. The times are all blank since it will depend on when your day starts and when your day ends. So these time slots are left blank, so I'm just going to fill this out. So I'm starting at 5 a.m. because that's the plan, to wake up for suhoor at 5 a.m. inshallah. So I filled out the times, and then what I'm going to do is put into my schedule things that I can't move, like work, I cannot move, any meetings, I can't move. For example, recitation of Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, that's a fixed time, and also the daily Quran recitation in Ramadan, that'll be a fixed time. So I'm going to put in all those fixed time things into the schedule, inshallah. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to make a key at the bottom. So I'll have different colors for different things. So for example, I will have something for sisterhood. That's going to cover like the daily Quran recitation and the Surah Al-Kahf Friday sessions. And then I'll make one for general worship. So that'll include prayers, Quran, any worship related things. I'll make one for work, and I think I'll do one for other work, meaning not job related, but kind of other work related to any, I guess, business kind of things like packaging orders or emails or content and filming and editing and any of that stuff that is not my job, but it's still work, but other work, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to call it other work. Anything that falls under that will be other work. And then I'll have maybe something for cooking. And I think that's it. I'll just say other. Everything else can be in just another color called other. Okay, so I'm just going to color code these. So sisterhood, I'll just use this pink diagonal line. Worship, I'm just going to use this yellow vertical line. For work, I'll use this turquoise diagonal. For other work, I'm just going to do like orange dots or something. So I'm going to block out the times that are blocked. For example, Friday 6:30 we have Friday sessions, usually ends around a little past 7. And then suhoor, of course, and fajr are at a fixed time. Okay, so I'm blocking out this slot from 5 to 7 a.m. It'll end a little bit shorter on Fridays because of the Kahf Friday session. But 5 to 7 a.m. it's going to be suhoor and Quran and fajr time. And what I'm trying to do is, so basically a tip that I shared on Instagram is that in Sha'ban, in this past month, I fasted a few days, and I fasted those few days with the mindset of, if this was Ramadan, what are the goals that I want to achieve? And let me see if those goals are reasonable and achievable and how I can achieve them. So I fasted those days with that mindset. And so, for example, for my Quran goal, I tried to see what made sense in terms of Quran recitation and when it made sense to recite Quran. So I found that my personal peak time of recitation was after Fajr. I love the time after Fajr. There's so much peace, there's so much comfort, and I found myself easily reciting and completing close to one juz' just after Fajr time. So in my schedule, I'm going to put more Quran time at Fajr time because I feel like that's my peak recitation time. And then throughout the day, I'll have other Quran reading times, but they're going to be smaller pieces of time. But I'm going to depend more on this Fajr time to complete my goal for Quran recitation, inshallah. So I hope that makes sense. So we all have different peaks and different times where it's easier to do certain things than others. Maybe your peak time is at night to recite. Maybe it's during the day. For me personally, I find it's much tougher during the day, like Dhuhr time and Asr time, especially with work and then being exhausted and so on. So I find myself not being able to read as much as I can in Fajr time. So that's why I'm putting a bigger block for Quran at Fajr time. So that's the strategy there. And you can also test it out if you're not sure. You can have a plan for week 1, and then in week 2, you change up your plan if you realize that it's not working and so on. I feel like in past Ramadans, I used to do it equal, where I used to say after Fajr, I will recite, for example, 5 pages, after Dhuhr, 5 pages, after Asr, 5 pages, after each prayer, the same number of pages, which is fine, but this works better for me personally, because sometimes Dhuhr and Asr, I could not meet that goal of even 4 or 5 pages at Dhuhr and Asr just because of work and other things. So this is my strategy this Ramadan. The other thing that I wanted to say is that if you are planning a Ramadan goal of reading Quran, especially sisters, if you know that there are going to be a few days in the month that you are not going to be able to meet your goals, you want to make sure that you take that into account before Ramadan begins. Because what ends up happening is, if you have a goal of you want to recite one juz' a day, and then suddenly you stop reciting in the middle of Ramadan, and then you're behind, and then you're trying to catch up, and then you feel like you're not hitting your goals, and it's just a cycle of you being disappointed and then feeling like, what's the point? I'm already behind and I'm already not meeting my goals, and why should I continue my goals? So you don't want to have that happen to you in Ramadan. And so if you know already that there's going to be a few days, whether it's 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, however many days, that you are not going to be fasting in Ramadan or reciting Quran, take that into account. So for example, if you want to finish the Quran in Ramadan, don't make your goal just one juz' a day. Have some days in the month where your goal, for example, is 2 juz's. Or have days in the month where your goal is 1.5 juz' on this day and 1.5 juz' on that day. That way you're taking into account the days that you are going to miss already. So that when you do miss those days, you don't feel that you're behind. You feel that you're right on track, inshallah. So that's another tip, inshallah, especially for my sisters who know that they are going to miss a few days, inshallah. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build that also into my days. So I'm trying to have days, for example, in the weekends where I do 2 juz' instead of 1 juz', so that when I do miss some days, I don't feel that I'm behind, inshallah. Okay, I think I'm pretty set on my schedule. I feel like the colors maybe are not showing up as much on camera, but they're all very bright colors and easy to see. So basically all of my kind of worship related things are in yellow, and I'm making this my biggest section of Quran time because, as I mentioned, that when I tried out fasting days in Sha'ban and seeing when is my peak time for recitation, I found that it was very easy for me to recite after Fajr and Suhoor, having just eaten and everything, and I really enjoyed recitation in this time. So I'm gonna put most of my Quran recitation in this time, and then smaller other sections after other prayers, inshallah. And then after that, on Fridays, there's Kaf Friday session, but other than that, on other days, it's just going to be packaging orders, emails, business related things. Monday to Friday, it's work at 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. and then with the breaks for prayer. And then on these days, except for this day, this time will be cooking. So you can see I have a meeting here. And so this is going to be a day that I want to make sure on my meal plan that it's going to be a leftover day so that I'm not worried about food. And then a short walk before Maghrib and have iftar, inshallah, and these are some other little meetings and classes and things. I'll probably be eating iftar in this class, inshallah. And then Isha and Taraweeh, and then ending with the sisterhood daily Quran recitation, and then that'll be the end of my night, and go to bed, inshallah, and do it all over again. And then Saturdays and Sundays are a bit more flexible. Right now, Saturdays I left blank, and it's going to be flex time, so if I want to be doing extra recitation and worship and things, I'll be doing it in this time. Or if I have work that has spilled over, then I can use these slots to work on things as well, inshallah. And Sunday is just content day and filming and editing and all those things. That's what I typically do on Sundays, so I'm keeping it the same, inshallah. And that's about it. So I hope that gives you an example, inshallah, of how to create your schedule, just putting in the things that you can't move, and then working around your schedule and finding out your peak time for Quran recitation or other worships or your other goals in Ramadan, inshallah. And if you're a student, of course, you'll have blocks. For example, could be your homework assignments block. This could be an assignment block, and so on. These will be your classes instead of work time, and so on. And again, as a student, you want to figure out when is your peak time for working, inshallah. So maybe your peak time is after Fajr time. You've just had suhoor, you've just eaten, your mind is fresh. Maybe you like to then get some work and assignments done at that time. Or maybe you can't function this early in the morning and you prefer to work after iftar or so on. You could schedule in your homework time and so on. So hopefully this gives you an idea, inshallah, of how to schedule and how to have realistic goals as well, depending on your schedule, inshallah. Okay, for the meal plan, I'm working on this digitally because I feel like I'm probably going to make a lot of changes. So if I do it in writing, then I wouldn't be able to make changes. But in this one, I can just move things around, change things around if I see different, better options and so on. So I'm working digitally on this. And I also have my box of recipes. So these are my go-to recipes for meals and things. I have them all in this box of recipes. So it all looks like this, split by, appetizers, soups and salads and different things. So I have little cards in there with my recipes. So I'm gonna go through these inshallah and just be deciding what meals to make in Ramadan. And my goal is to have meals that basically don't take more than 30 minutes to make, and are also kind of like one pan dishes or one pot dishes inshallah, also to minimize effort and cleaning and all the different steps and so on. Things that I can just put in one pan or one pot, it cooks and it's done inshallah. And I can show you some of these recipes if you want some ideas. So this quinoa chickpea salad is definitely going to be on the menu. Okay, ignore my messy handwriting, but this is a quinoa chickpea salad, and you can do it without quinoa. I do it a lot of the time without quinoa. It's just so easy and it's so refreshing and so good, and it's so nice after a day of fasting as well. So I've done this in past Ramadan, so this is definitely going to be something on the menu inshallah. And this is another one. By the way, you'll notice most of the recipes are vegetarian recipes, so I mostly eat vegetarian with the occasional fish here and there. So this is a vegetarian macaroni bechamel recipe. If you like bechamel, this is so good. So these are the details, and this is the back, how to make it. So if you want to screenshot this or something, but this is really good. So that would be on the list. And lasagna, it's going to be on the list. That's a quick one pot dish inshallah, and then just have a salad on the side or something. And this is the back of the details. Spanish paella, this is another good one. And you can use any rice. I do this sometimes with basmati rice and it's fine. It's still really good and the flavors are there. And those are the details. Excuse my handwriting. But I'm just showing them in case you want any ideas for meals and things. This is like a vegan sheet pan shawarma. So this is kind of like with shawarma flavors, but you do it with tempeh. So it's a really easy one pan dish. Very simple. You just chop things up and put the spices and you're done. So that will also be a good one for Ramadan. This is kind of a Moroccan sweet potato stew. Again, it's vegetarian, so there's no meat in this one. But this is so comforting. So this is again just a one pot dish, and I usually make quinoa on the side, so you can see I wrote quinoa here. Or you can have it with the couscous or anything. But this is really good, and these are the instructions. And this is a rub for salmon. So if you want to have some fish, this is a recipe for salmon. I usually do it with honey, not the brown sugar. I do honey. And you can also throw like onions, peppers, potatoes, and so on in the same mix and get the same flavors and have it as a side with the salmon. So you can use the same rub. You can make extra of this rub and throw it on potatoes and peppers. It's really good and really easy. Those are the main things, I think, that I have recipes for. Some recipes are in my head and I should probably write them down. But yeah, hopefully that gives you ideas. So I'm going to work on the meal plan digitally. I'm also adding quinoa bowls. This is really easy. You just make quinoa and then you just make any veggies on the side, different veggies, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, onions, peppers, and then you just top quinoa with those different veggies, and it's just a quick, easy dish. You can add avocado to it or any sauce that you like or anything. You can even add greens. So this is a really good one. And so the plan, for example, on Sundays to have quinoa bowls and then to also have that for suhoor as leftovers. It really depends on you. For me, for suhoor, I feel like I can eat breakfast items and I can eat dinner items at suhoor. Like I don't really have I can go either way. So you'll see here, for example, I have omelette with peppers, tomatoes, onions. That's kind of breakfasty, but the quinoa bowls is more of like a dinner item, but I personally don't mind, like I can eat either. And I'm just separating suhoor and iftar by this line so that I know this is suhoor and under it is iftar. And yeah, I'm just going down the list. I have vegetable soup for day one, and the plan is to make enough for about 4 or 5 days. a vegetable soup, so I don't have to think about it, and that's just an easy side to have. And if I want to have it at suhoor time also, I can just grab a bowl, inshallah. This is the fish and potatoes dish that I mentioned. This is the chickpea salad that I showed. So I'm just going to continue down the list and fill in each day, inshallah. Okay, I'm just going down the list. I'm also trying to plan out ways where I'm actually prepping for suhoor when I prep for iftar. So for example, when I'm making this paella, I need to chop onions and tomatoes. And so I will also chop extra onions and tomatoes and just keep them in a container ready for suhoor. So I just need to take out the what I chopped and then throw an egg on it, and I'll be ready for suhoor, inshallah. So I'm trying to also minimize prep for suhoor time by getting things ready at iftar time while I'm already chopping things and in the kitchen cutting things. So that is the plan, and I'm just making my way through it, and I'm trying to make sure that Wednesday, Thursday, these days I'm not cooking as much and I'm relying on leftovers, since Wednesdays and Thursdays are going to be the most hectic days with work. I'm taking a coffee break and just working through this digitally. I'm pretty much done with a first draft, and I've just color coded things. So, for example, on Monday, if there's vegetable soup, I'll have it like on 4 days, inshallah, and it's color coded the same. That way, I can visually just look and see, like, oh, okay, I'm depending on leftovers from the day before, inshallah, and so on. It's just the first draft, and so I'm gonna sit on this and think about it. I think there's a couple of things I need to move around because I need to make sure Thursday I'm not cooking, because I don't think that I'll have any time to cook on Thursday since I'm back to back on Thursdays until iftar time. And what I did is I did the first 2 weeks and then I just copy pasted the next 2 weeks and made them identical so that whatever I do in these 2 weeks, I'm just repeating them in these 2 weeks. But of course, I'll see how these 2 weeks go, and then if I need to make changes, I can adjust for this next few weeks, inshallah. So this is just a draft. I'm gonna sit and think about it. I might change around a couple of things, but that's basically what it's looking like now, and it'll also help with ordering groceries and everything, inshallah. So that's about it. Just gonna finish my coffee, and I think I'm gonna end off here, inshallah. I hope that kind of gave you an idea of how to use these different files, inshallah. And I hope that you find it beneficial to kind of plan ahead for your Ramadan so that you can have a productive Ramadan, inshallah. And don't let it be something that overwhelms you. Like if you don't end up hitting your goal on the first week or meeting those different things you're scheduled, then it's a great chance to kind of reevaluate week 2 and change things up, inshallah. So don't let it disappoint you or bring you down that you're not achieving certain things, inshallah. You can kind of readjust week 2, inshallah. That's pretty much it. Make sure that your goals are reasonable and achievable, inshallah, so that you can keep them consistent. You know yourself best, so don't compare yourself to somebody else. Maybe for one person it's easy to finish the Quran once in Ramadan, and for you it's not an achievable goal. And also don't compare yourself to others, because somebody might finish the Quran once in Ramadan but not have gained anything, not have absorbed any meaning, and have just been reading it, without really absorbing anything. Whereas you maybe only read 10 pages, but you really absorbed that meaning and it impacted you much more, maybe. Just don't compare. Allah knows our intentions, Allah knows where our hearts are at, Allah knows our efforts, and He rewards us for those efforts. He doesn't reward us by comparing us to the effort of somebody else. So that's just a quick reminder, inshallah. I hope that you find this Ramadan material beneficial. I try to keep it simple and to the point, just a calendar and some challenges if you want to challenge yourself each day in Ramadan, just a meal plan if you want to plan ahead, and just a weekly schedule so that you can schedule your time out, inshallah. You don't have to do every single thing that is in this. If one of them is beneficial, for example, if just the schedule, having a schedule, helps you, just focus on that one thing, create a good schedule for yourself and plan out your days, inshallah. When you plan out your days and you can see a schedule in front of you, you're more likely to achieve those goals, inshallah. So try to have a set plan, and inshallah, may Allah make this a really rewarding and beneficial Ramadan for all of us. Ya Rab. That's it. As-salamu Aleikum.